I always thought about those people with addictions were those people who were using some kind of narcotics or smoking, or they were already an alcoholics. And real quick, before I keep going, don't look at the video because I'm dark, and I don't know if you can really see myself, but just take the message. The message is what I'm trying to bring out. And I was running this morning, and I was thinking about those people. I always thought about people with addictions were those people who were using some kind of narcotics and stuff like that. And I don't know if you know about this, you probably do, but addictions start with decisions. Decisions become small habits, and those habits becomes an addiction. What's the difference between an addiction and a habit is that your body requires that thing for you to keep going. So, and I'm not here to judge anybody over here. I mean, if you see this video, I'm not here to judge anybody because I'm not that type of person that like to judge people. But I'm here to tell you that, and that everybody in some way or another, is addicted to something. Some people are addicted to smoking. Yes, that's right. But there's some people also that are addicted to sex. There's people addicted to drinking. There's some people addicted to reading. There's some people addicted to working out. There's people addicted to so many different things, to yell at their spouse, to snap at their kids, an addiction to basically wake up late, an addiction to not do the things that that are important in your life. And you're like, oh no, that's not an addiction. Yes, it is an addiction, and I'm gonna tell you why. If you are struggling with some kind of addiction, it don't matter what it is, but you want to change it, there's only one way for you to do it. It is by replacing them. You need to replace. And me, in my case, I used to be a smoker for so many years. I used to smoke maybe 3 packs of cigarettes a day, for so many years. And the only way that I was able to quit it was by replacing it by something else. Some people replace alcohol with cigarettes, and some people replace drugs with alcohol, and some people replace, different things. But there's always, in order for you to stop one addiction, you must replace it with something else. But it's your decision, to think what you're going to be replacing it with. Like, for example, I had this thing in my mind years ago that I always had these negative thoughts, negative thoughts all the time. And believe it or not, it is an addiction. Why? Because at the same time, I was getting depressed. At the same time, I was thinking about why I was so meaningless in this life, at the same time. So you actually you actually pick a date. There's some people who think like that in the morning. But reality is that it becomes an addiction. It starts with a decision. Today, okay, let me make an example. Today I say, oh, I feel tired and I'm gonna go to sleep during the day. I'm gonna take a nap. It's 2 o'clock. Well, you should be working, or you should be doing something else, because if not, then you won't be able to sleep at night. You're like, no, I'm only gonna sleep for 10 minutes. Then you wake up an hour, 2, 3 hours later. And then the day after, you're like, okay, I'm gonna go take a nap for another 10 more minutes. Next thing you know, you've been doing that for weeks. Next thing you know, you've been doing that for months. All of a sudden, you wake up one day and you're like, what the hell have I done with my life? Why? Because your body keep pushing you every single day to do it. But the only way how you know it's an addiction is because when your body requires you to do it, like every day at 2, your body tells you, oh, take a nap. You know what I mean? Now the difference is there's different type of addiction. When it comes to, there's addictions that are making things bad with your body. Like for instance, if you're smoking, you're not taking care of your body. So on the long run, you're gonna see an impact on it. Now there's people that are addicted to work out, for example, and to eating healthy. They they depend on that. I mean, they cannot eat a hamburger. They don't enjoy the hamburger. You know, I do, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it. You know what I mean? But there's people that are addicted to waking up early and to work out. But the only difference is that those addictions are doing good things to your body. So in the long run, you are going to see an impact on it. You can always pick to replace smoking cigarette with something simple like chewing gum. You know what I mean? Or maybe a lollipop or some kind of candy or but if you're smoking every like I used to, every 15 minutes I was smoking. So I used to I started by replacing it with some kind of candy, and then I kept changing a little thing, and that candy I replaced it with chewing gum. To this day I still chew gum. but but I mean, hey, I mean, I'm not perfect, but I'm just here to tell you that I mean, I smoked for so many years that to this day I still crave it. you know I know many people who are they stop drinking, but to this day they still have the craving. And I'm not here to judge anybody if somebody sleep, because I wish I can sleep, and say, I'm just gonna smoke one cigarette today and that's it. I haven't been smoking for so many years. I can do it. I can do it only one cigarette today. But you know what's the bad thing? That cigarette is going to push me for me to get back on that same path. And I don't want that for myself. I know that one slip is enough for me to go back on it. I don't know if many of you know, but, I started being vegetarian. And I was doing so good, it was like 9 months being vegetarian. But I remember, that's when I was in college. This guy came up to me and he's like, "Oh, here's a piece of lasagna," and I'm like, "Dude, I'm vegetarian. I don't eat meat." And he's like, "Oh, come on, dude. I just made this for you. I just wanted to, you helped me with this assignment before, with this homework, and I mean, you explained everything to me that I really wanted to surprise you and give you this." And I'm like, "Okay, then don't make me feel guilty. Okay, I'll taste it." Next thing you know, I was eating meat the day after, and I kept on going. And next thing you know, it was like 7 months later, and I'm like, what the hell? I've been eating meat every single day again. But I started seeing on my body, the impact on it. I'm not vegetarian right now, but, I try to eat healthier than, sometimes, with the coronavirus, it's hard, and don't judge me. Don't judge me. But, but I mean, with the coronavirus, it's so hard, eating cereal at night or getting some cookies and stuff like that, it's hard. But I'm not here to tell you about those cookies. I'm here to tell you that if you're struggling with some kind of addiction, being alcohol, being drugs, or even sex, or even yelling at somebody, or even not liking your job, that is an addiction, because your body depends on that same type of mentality for you to keep going. So if you start like grouching and just cursing at your job, you're not going to be performing good. And let me tell you something. A positive mind will give you much more than a negative mind. If you don't like your job, replace it, but don't curse it either, because you're not doing you any good, and you're not doing anybody any good. And so anyways, long story short, if you have an addiction, replace it with something. Now, hey, make sure that if you replace it with somebody that's going to be doing good to your body and to your mind and to your health and to those people around you. Some people think about just addiction about hurting themselves and don't care about hurting the people around them. And addiction is when you are hurting yourself, when you're hurting your relationship with other, when when you're hurting your bank account. Some people buy 3 packs of cigarettes a day or some kind of drugs, but there's other people who are spending all that money on just, protein shakes. But anyway, an addiction. I mean, if you don't like your addiction, and if you already notice that addiction is not going to take you where you want to be in 10 years, hey, if that addiction is good for your body, and if you see yourself in 10 years and you know that you're going to be doing good because of that addiction, keep on doing it. I'm not here to tell you to change it. But if you have noticed, if you already know that that addiction is not going to put you in the level that you want in 10 years from now, then replace it, and replace it with somebody, with something that can do really good for you. Replace it by reading, replace it by working out, replace it by eating healthy, replace it with something that that in the long run is not going to hurt you. Okay, have a wonderful day, everybody.